Chimera, the cell. This is from the 1920s to the 1990s. Wow, the time spans on these is just quite lovely. Soviet Union's program to create poisons. Oh boy, what are these brewskis up to? What does being poor and a very, very big amount of ingenuity and lack of resources push you to do? Let's find out! Their first poison lab was established in 1921, tested numerous poisons on prisoners from gulags. Gotta love a gulag. Goal was to find a tasteless, odorless poison that couldn't be detected after death. It took them 70 years to try and figure this out. I feel like that was probably the original goal. Oh, hell yeah, that's my shithole. I love the patriotism there. Yeah, that's my shithole. Das vidanya. Carbelamine, choline chloride, would weaken and silently kill within 15 minutes. After Stalin's death, former heads were executed and jailed. Now, of course, unlike America, most of the Slavic countries and other beast countries when handling crime, at least, looked at this situation and were like, you evil rat bastards, and killed them. What took them so long? Oh, they were stolen! Several prominent victims to poisons that were traced back to this lab, okay? A lot of poisons were made here, and a lot of them were also tracked back here. So, they weren't very successful. Like I said, lack of resources. Alternatively known as Laboratory 1, Laboratory 12, and Chimera, which means the cell in Russian. Chimera? Was a covert research and development, not so covert now, facility of the Soviet secret police agencies. The laboratory manufactured and tested poisons and was reportedly reactivated in the late 1990s. Reactivated. Right. The laboratory activities were mentioned in the Mitrokhin Archive, which is a collection of handwritten notes, primary sources, and official documents which were secretly made, smuggled, and hidden by the KGB archivist Vasily Mitrokhin during the 30 years in which he served as a KGB archivist in the Foreign Intelligence Services. We love espionage! 1921, first poison laboratory with the Soviet Secret Services was established. 1926, the laboratory was under the supervision of Genrik Yagoda, deputy of the OGPU, Chairman Vyacheslav Minzhinsky, who became NKVD chief in 1934 after Minzhinsky's death. The OGPU is a joint state political dictatorate, and the NKVD is the People's Commissariat for Internal Affairs. It becomes a laboratory in 1931 and 39, where Grigory Maranyavsky. Wow. The laboratory was under the direct supervision of NKVD Director Lavrenti Beria and his deputy Vyacheslav Merkulov from 1939 to March 1953. Victims included the American Isaiah Oggins. Who is Isaiah Oggins? He was an American-born communist and spy for the Soviet secret police. After working in Europe and the Far East, Oggins was arrested, served 8 years in the Gulag. That's what you get for spying! That's what you get for telling on us, you tattletale! Now your ass is grass! Cy Oggins was taken to the laboratory number 1, the Chimera, where Grigory Maranyavsky injected him with Carrere, which takes 10 to 15 minutes to kill. Carrere is a common name for various alkaloid arrow poisons, originating from plant extracts, used as a paralyzing agent by indigenous peoples in Central and South America for hunting and therapeutic purposes. But an overdose of it will kill you. How does it kill you? Oh, well, if it paralyzes you, what does it also paralyze? Your heart, you die. March 14th, 1953, it was renamed to Laboratory 12. In 1978, it was expanded into Central Investigation Institute for Special Technology within the first Chief Directorate. And then in 1991, several laboratories of the SBR were responsible for the creation of biological and toxin weapons for clandestine operations in the West. Prominent victims include the leader of the Russian All-Military Union, General Alexander Kutepov, was drugged and kidnapped in Paris and died from a heart attack due to an overdose of the administered drug. 1936, Nestor Lakoba, Abkhaz communist leader. 1937, one of the leaders with the White Movement and head of the Russian All-Military Union, Russian General Evgeny Miller, was drugged and kidnapped in Paris and later executed in Russia. 1947, Archbishop, there we go, Theodore Ramza of the Ukrainian Catholic Church. Wow, Ukraine. Was killed by injection of Carrere, again, provided by Marniovsky. 1971, a Nobel Prize laureate and dissident Alexander Solzhenitsyn was poisoned with what was later determined to be ricin. What is ricin? It's a highly potent toxin produced in the seeds of castor oil. Yes, castor oil can be poisonous. Dissident Bulgarian writer Georgy Markov was assassinated in London using a tiny pellet from an umbrella gun with ricin. Now that's some Bond level shit. 1979, attempted poisoning of the second president of Afghanistan, Hafizullah Amin. On December 13, 1979, Department 8 at KGB succeeded in infiltrating as a chef of Amin's presidential palace. However, Amin switched his food and drink as if he expected to be poisoned, so his son-in-law became seriously ill and ironically was flown to a hospital in Moscow. All the goofy spy movies, definitely almost all based off of Russian actual happenings. This is some Pink Panther levels of what the fuck. But yeah, they were known to, even poison their own, which, not a huge surprise, but also still unethical. I don't know how, if I was to rank them, I wouldn't put them too high on the list of unethical as much as they are just part of an organization looking to kill what they view as their enemies rather than just taking what they view as innocence. So I don't know. The scales are tipping in many different ways. I also don't know how much of an experimentation it is. It wasn't like they were kept in holding cells. They just kind of made it and they were like, all right, let's go test it. And then would shoot somebody. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, people would be brought to the lab, the guy would jab them with a needle and, see what the fuck happened. And very often they would die. But for those who didn't die, or for those who weren't found out, I guess they succeeded in their main goal? Potentially? I don't know. It's not giving people syphilis for 40 years. It's not, purposely holding people who are there and can't leave anyways and burning their testes. It's just killing them, which is not better, but it's also not worse. Oh boy, here I go testing again. I also just feel like a lot of these poisons are instant deaths or within 10 to 15 minutes. And I feel like, it's an agonizing 10 to 15 minutes, but it's not 40 years. Either way, death is death, pain is pain, right? And I can't really scale it because I can't ask them because they're dead. How would you rate this death, sir? 10 out of 10. Would do again. It was honestly super quick and painless. Thank you. До свидания.